Lucia jolted awake, breath shallow and forehead damp. "My head," she muttered, pressing her palm against her temple. "I thought I'd gotten used to these dreams, but seeing them again, it never stops hurting." She sat up slowly, the dim light of morning filtering through the dusty window. "It's morning again," she thought blankly. "Let's see, we're out of wood fire. Almost no eggs or potatoes left either. I mustn't forget." As she walked through the corridor, she caught her reflection in the window pane. Her eyes lingered. "I can never tell a soul about it. No one would believe me." When has a princess ever pretended to be a maid? Lucia, Princess Vivian Hesse, had been living a double life. When she stepped past the palace gates, she was no longer the 16th princess. No one noticed her. No one remembered her face. That was freedom. I was 12 when I was brought to the palace. They gave me a title, a name, a role, but I never felt like I belonged. The royal family's indifference gave me room to live like this, like a maid. It's strange, but I liked it. I wanted it. She passed the guards. "Princess Vivian, is everything all right?" "I must always return to give greetings, even if I'm a princess," she replied. The gatekeeper squinted. "Did you steal anything from the palace?" She smiled faintly. "No. When I cross this door, I'm not Princess Vivian anymore." Lucia knocked on a door gently. "Norman, are you still asleep?" From inside, a tired voice responded. "You're here already. Lucia." Lucia smiled as she entered and began making tea. "Are you okay?" "Not really," Norman admitted. "But when I drink, I write better." Lucia gave her a look. "You shouldn't overdo it." "I wrote a little and kept drinking," Norman admitted with a weak laugh. Lucia brightened. "I heard you published a new novel. Is it true?" Norman nodded, handing her a copy. "I saved one for you. You inspired a lot of what's in there." "Really? I've waited so long for this." "I've even lost sleep wondering how it ends," Lucia said as she eagerly flipped through the pages. "Don't spoil it by skipping ahead," but Lucia gasped. Tucked at the back was an envelope. She peeked inside, eyes widening. "I can't accept this, Norman. This is too much. It's for your anniversary, the day you gave me the ideas that made this book possible." "But Norman, you gave me more than ideas. You gave me your world, your stories, your insight. When I had nothing, you brought food from the palace and stayed by my side. I haven't forgotten. You're like family to me." Lucia's hands trembled. "With this money and what I've saved, I can finally solve my problems." But joy didn't last. "If I run away, the guards will come after me to protect the royal name. And Norman, they might hurt her. I can't risk that. Maybe it was better to wait, to endure the wedding." Count Metten. The name sent a chill down her spine. The nightmare again. The one where I'm sold after my 19th birthday. I couldn't stop the king's death. I couldn't stop the floods. Or the famine. My dreams always come true. I'm 18 now. I only have 1 year left. Norman noticed her pale expression. "Are you all right?" Lucia forced a smile. "You look more tired than me. You should rest." They parted at the door. Norman warned her to be careful. There were too many people outside. "All the knights are in the capital for a revision," Norman said. "The war just ended." Lucia nodded. "The war, of course. The celebration. That's today." She joined the crowds, trying to catch a glimpse of the celebration. The noise overwhelmed her. She bumped into people, craning her neck. "I've never seen this in my dreams. This moment is new. Maybe the future can still change." Then she heard a name echoing across the streets. Taran. Duke Taran. Duke Hugo Taran. The Black Lion of the battlefield. A man feared and admired. In one dream, 2 years after my wedding to Count Metten, I heard he married a cheerful woman with no title. People said he was in love, but later rumors spread that he just needed someone harmless. A wife who wouldn't interfere with the Taran family's power. He never denied it. That silence felt louder than any truth. Back at Norman's, the author struggled. "I have nothing," she sighed. "Why don't you rest?" Lucia said, offering tea. "I can't write." "You're working on a romance, right?" Norman nodded. Lucia paused. What if the Duke entered a contract marriage?" Norman blinked. "A what? A marriage with no love. Just benefits. 2 people with something to gain." Norman's eyes lit up. "Lucia, you're a genius." Lucia chuckled. "Then write me a few more books. What if I could change my fate? What if I played the role of the Duke's wife? If I could offer him what he needs, maybe, just maybe, I could escape the future waiting for me." 3 days into the victory celebration, The palace glittered with laughter and pride. Duke Taran stood silent as the Crown Prince Quais pestered him. "You're so stiff, Dukey. Lighten up. I'm only attending tonight." "Come on, 5 days of parties, and you'll only show up once?" The Duke gave a long stare. Quais smirked. All right, just the first night." Annoyed, the Duke turned away, only to feel eyes on him. He looked. Their gazes met. From across the room, Lucia froze. There he is, taller than everyone else, surrounded by people, like always. "I've waited 4 days for this. I can't waste another moment. Tonight, I have to speak to him." They stared at each other for a moment until she turned away. "Are you listening, Duke?" Quais asked. "What did you say?" Hugo replied. "You weren't paying attention again, were you?" Quais said, half amused, half annoyed. Hugo remained silent, his thoughts elsewhere. He had noticed her gaze. It wasn't the kind of look he was used to. There was hesitation in it. If she had something to say, she would have said it, he thought. But even after 5 days of the party, she never approached him. Just watched, always with that unreadable expression. The 5th night came. She couldn't sit still. She watched the crowd closely, waiting. Then she saw him excuse himself and quietly leave the party hall. Her heart sped up. Maybe now was her chance. She followed at a distance. Outside, she was about to call out to him when a familiar voice cut through the air. "Hugo," a woman said softly. Lucia froze and stepped back behind a wall. It was Sophia Lorenz. She stayed hidden, listening, unsure why. "You shouldn't call me that anymore," the Duke said. Sophia's tone wavered. "You're so cold. We were what we were, Lady Lawrence, but I told you from the beginning not to get attached. You said you understood." There was silence. Then Sophia's voice, barely holding together. "You sent yellow roses? That was your way of ending things?" "I don't use emotions to make decisions. I don't like wasting time on feelings. And anger," he said, "is for those who can't control themselves. The things that anger me don't last long." Lucia felt her stomach twist. She hadn't expected to hear something like that. Her image of him, distant but noble, suddenly cracked. When Sophia finally left, her steps were slow and heavy. Lucia stepped back, her breath caught in her throat. Then came a voice. "Why don't you come out?" She froze. "No more hiding like a cat," he added. His voice wasn't angry, just aware. Caught, Lucia stepped into view. I didn't mean to eavesdrop," she said quietly. The Duke raised an eyebrow. "You're a bit far for a conversation, don't you think?" She took a few steps closer. "Right, sorry." He studied her face, quiet for a moment. "You've been watching me all week, so you have something to say, don't you?" Her throat tightened, but she nodded. "Yes, I want to propose a contract." His expression didn't change. "A contract?" he repeated. "You don't think introductions come first?" "I can't reveal everything here. Not yet." He paused. "Then what do you want?" "I'd like to visit your residence." That made him narrow his eyes. "When?" "I'll be in contact soon." The Duke let out a breath, almost a sigh of annoyance. "So I wait for an unspecified contract from a stranger with no set time." Lucia forced a calm expression. "It's a risk, but it's important." Hugo tilted his head slightly. "I hope you deliver. I'm not always patient." "I'll keep that in mind." As he turned and walked away, Lucia stood still for a long time, unsure whether to feel relieved or terrified. That night, Lucia couldn't sleep. His words to Sophia echoed in her mind. He hadn't yelled. He hadn't even seemed angry. And yet, the way he ended things, so controlled, so final, it chilled her. She told herself she needed rest, but sleep never came. She kept thinking, will he react the same way if I propose a contract marriage? Will he see me as a nuisance? Or worse, a threat? The next evening, Norman stepped into Lucia's room and found her by the window, the rain tapping softly against the glass. "Lucia?" She turned, offering a small smile. "You're here." "You're out in the rain again," Norman said. "You'll get sick like this," Lucia shrugged. "It's fine. I'll go back soon." Norman handed her a warm drink and sat down beside her. "Something's bothering you, I can tell." Lucia hesitated before speaking. "There are 2 paths in front of me. One is known. It leads to a future I already fear. The other is uncertain. I don't know where it goes. It could be better. Or worse." Norman didn't blink. "I'd take the unknown one." "You didn't even hesitate." "No reason to," she said. "If the certain path is painful, then I'd rather take the risk. At least if I choose, I'll have no regrets." Lucia was quiet, then smiled. "You're right. You only get one life, Lucia. If you're going to live it afraid, What's the point? Lucia's laughter was soft, but real. Thank you, Norman. The next morning, she arrived at the Duke's residence. The gate stood open. No guards. No silence felt strange. Is this the right place? She wondered. She reached for the gate. Just then, a deep voice called out, "Who is it?" She froze. A large shadow moved toward her. As he stepped into view, she recognized him. If you're enjoying Lucia's journey and want to see what happens next, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more episodes. Every click helps keep the story going. Thank you for being part of it.